Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program this evening. Folks, we have a lot of things we need to talk about. I want to get started immediately. I would ask that everybody, if you enjoy what you're seeing here on our channel, to please show us appropriately by giving us a thumbs up. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel immediately because they keep unsubscribing people, guys. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. They do it on almost on a religious basis. YouTube doesn't like this channel because we tell the truth. We tell the truth about whatever's going on. We want to do that, and I keep telling everybody I talk to and everybody that inquires what we do here on this channel is we tell the truth. We're trying to save lives here. We're absolutely trying to save lives, and that is why we came on the air first time April 2000. April 2019. We came on here to save lives, and that's exactly what we aim to do here on in the future. Tonight, we have a lot of things we need to talk about. I want to first talk about what is going on over in Iran. Israel attacked Iran earlier this morning. And most people know about that. If you haven't already heard, it happened. Most news channels have been talking about it on the mainstream media. ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, MSNBC, all the network communist news channels are talking about it. Now, I put it on our community post page here on YouTube last night before I went to bed. I also posted about it on Facebook as well. Israeli jets pounded Iran overnight. The target of the attack was Iran's uranium enrichment facilities, including dozens of targets across the country due to an imminent threat of an Iranian nuclear breakout. Iran has threatened to attack Israel and completely eliminate the Jewish population worldwide. They want to conquer the world. But videos from last night overlooking Tehran, as you're seeing here in this picture, show the facilities on fire and dark smoke rising from the ground in these said attacks. The attacks killed Iranians' top military operations advisors and officers. The attack is said to have killed Iran's missile program leader as well. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said Israel would face severe punishment. That punishment started early this morning. This morning, the Jewish state is in a state of emergency in anticipation of the Iranian missile and drone attacks. That's exactly what happened. Let's bring you up to date with a report from Fox News.
And urging people that they do not need to stay as close to shelters as they had been in the previous hours, indicating that Israel and the Israeli Defense Force believe at this point that they will be able to take out the incoming threat as we await what could be these waves of drones sent over anytime this hour. All of this follows what happened earlier this morning when Israel says it targeted the heart of Iran's nuclear capabilities in an operation it calls Rising Lion.
The Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. When someone comes to kill you, rise and act first. This is exactly what Israel has done today. We have risen like lions to defend ourselves.
Israel says it used more than 200 fighter jets to hit over 100 targets across Iran. In Iran, multiple explosions were heard near the Natanz nuclear power facility. There are reports this morning that that center has been completely destroyed, although the International Atomic Energy Agency says that there has been no increase in the radiation levels at that facility. Fires broke out across Iran. Iranian state media today say that 3 military commanders in the Iranian regime were killed. 6 nuclear scientists were also killed. And Washington quickly responding. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying, quote, "We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region." And President Trump also telling our Brett Baier, quote, "Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, and we are hoping to get back to the negotiation table. We will see. There are several people in leadership that will not be coming back." It was around 3 a.m. this morning when sirens blared across Israel, waking up millions of people, telling them to get into shelters as quickly as possible. The defense minister quickly declared a special state of emergency after this elaborate strike, again, anticipating that there would be this Iranian attack. The IDF is also mobilizing thousands of troops as well as reservists because of this incoming strike that we are expecting. But there is, of course, that caution that we are hearing from Home Front Command that people can stay a little bit further away from shelters, not gathering in any public places. It is the weekend. Normally we would see this area, Carly and Todd, packed with people. No one is here except for people who have been going out to get groceries and stock up on water. Carly, Todd.
Yeah, getting all the essentials. And Alex, it is welcome news that you just reported that Israel does think that they can take out those 100 drones that Iran launched towards Israel so that people can potentially move about more freely than what they may have previously expected today. But the Israeli people, Alex, as you know, they've been through so much. This war in Gaza now over 600 days old. So now that you're on the ground in Israel, what can you tell us about how this strike is being received by the Israeli people?
Well, this came as quite a shock. Of course, people who have lived here, people who are from here, they are used to going to the shelters. They are used to hearing the sounds of sirens, getting those alerts that we receive on our phones, telling us exactly what is happening and who is launching a strike, whether that is coming from Hamas, if it was Hezbollah previously before the ceasefire up in the north, or the Houthis in Yemen. When people went to the shelters this morning, it wasn't until later that they received the notification from the government that this was in fact in anticipation of an Iranian response after their preemptive strike. So there is a level of exhaustion that people are feeling after being at war for so long and now seeing something potentially escalate. There's also the feeling at the same time among Israelis that they believe that this needed to happen to prevent Iran from developing their nuclear capabilities even further. Of course, this also comes at the same time as we were expecting to see more negotiations take place. Of course, those will not be taking place in the same way that there had been hopes that they would. Diplomatically, of course, we expect to see more conversations to try to bring people back to the negotiation table and bring down the temperature here in the Middle East. Carly, Todd.
Israel wouldn't have attacked if they didn't feel like the time is now, and that is why we are seeing the events unfolding as we did overnight.
Okay, that's why it happened, okay? Israel thought down deep that Iran was about to attack Israel, and Israel said as much as well. That's why they did what they did this morning. At the same time, about 2 hours ago, Israel itself came under attack from Iran. Iran says it has started and has just launched 150 missiles with 9 impacts, and at least 15 people are said to have been wounded. The United States missile shield is helping to protect Israel as we speak. President Trump yesterday said that the United States would not be participating in the attack on Iran, while Iran said if it gets attacked, they would attack Israel and they would also attack all United States military targets that it could reach in the region. On Wednesday, President Trump pulled out all Americans and embassy staffs and assets out of the region before this could happen, including in Iraq. Over in Iraq, we saw flags flying from Iraq that were Iranian flags in support of Iran. President Trump said he's given Iran chance after chance after chance to make a deal. President Trump said, quote, "I told them in the strong words, just do it. Make the decision to protect yourselves. Just do it. I told them the strongest words just to do it, no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got. They just didn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know or anticipated or they were told by us, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, and by far, and Israel has most of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They're all dead now, and it will only get worse. There's already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make the slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. The slaughter, death, and destruction can come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there's nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction, just do it before it's too late. President Trump ended that message with, "God bless you all." Israeli attacks will only get worse, and President Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel, said as much this morning. He's also planning more attacks tonight. We've already, here in the United States, we've already seen the stock market take a big hit. The Dow today was down over 561 points, down to $42,406.49. That's a huge hit on the stock market because of what's happened. But this doesn't end. This doesn't end for the United States. More things are happening. More things are happening as we speak. As you already know, there are protests in Los Angeles and around this country ongoing now. More death and destruction going on now. More people have been killed in Iran, or not Iran, but Los Angeles and other places because of what these protesters are doing. Now, who are funding these protesters? Does anybody know who's been funding these protesters? Can anybody give me an idea who's been funding these protesters? Anybody got an idea? How about this lady, Christy Walton? Christy Walton, the heiress from Walmart. She's just one of them. We also talked about another man this past few days. The other man is right here. I'm going to show you his picture in just a second here. This man right here, Neville Roy Singham. Neville Roy Singham. This man right here. He and Christy Walton funded the protests that are going on right now in Los Angeles, around the country. Okay? They've done it. They put out the money for these protests. They have no guile. They literally have no guile. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care what they do to this country. If they had any idea, they would not have done what they've done. plain and simple. Tomorrow, they're planning on holding no king rallies around this country. They're planning on holding no king rallies around this country. What do you think is going to happen? Does anybody have any idea what is going to happen here? Let me tell you. These no king rallies are in protest of President Donald Trump. They're protesting Donald Trump. They don't much care for Donald Trump at all. They don't much care for this country. Tomorrow is June 14th, the 250th birthday of the United States Army. Originally, President Trump wanted this to be an appreciation of the United States military, thanking the military for what they've done for this country, regardless of it having been President Trump's birthday at all. President Trump wanted to celebrate the founding of this country and also founding of the United States Army. President Trump has called the month of June to be Military Celebration Month, not Pride Month. Now the Democrat communists are saying that he is going to be celebrating his birthday by a show of military strength on his birthday, which has nothing to do with his birthday. President Trump has said that the National Guard and Marine Corps will stay in Los Angeles and wherever else they are needed until peace has been returned and restored to those communities. Next year, July 14th, that is the 250th celebration of our country, the 250th birthday celebration of the United States of America. But the protesters are saying something in direct opposition to President Trump. They're saying what President Trump is trying to do is to get out the American people. They're trying to get out the American people in celebration. But guess what? This 50-51, instead of Agenda 2030, it's Agenda 50-51, 5,501. The 5,501 movement, 50 protests, 50 states, one movement. And other groups are protesting military parade scheduled to take place in the nation's capital tomorrow morning, coinciding with President Trump's 79th birthday and the United States Army's 250th birthday and Flag Day, June 14th. Multiple protests are being held in various cities in each state across this country. Events are being planned for Washington, D.C. as well. It's incredible. It truly is incredible. Let me show you the map. This map is showing where protests are going to be held around this country, literally in every state. Look down in Florida. Florida's being represented by these movements as well. But I saw a video today in Brevard County, Florida. They've already said if these protesters get out of hand, they will arrest these protesters and they will spend the weekend in jail. They may be spending a lot longer in jail as well. Florida has a no tolerance for injustice and protests. You can protest peacefully, but if you step out of line in Florida, you will go to jail. You step out of line in Florida, you'll go to jail. Let me briefly show you the protest list for every place around the country. This is the protest list for No Kings tomorrow morning. Montgomery, Alabama, starting at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Starting at the Alabama Department of Archives and History on Washington Avenue in Montgomery, Alabama. Even upwards of northwestern United States and Homer, Alaska. Homer, Alaska is stepping off at 11 a.m. to 12 noon, 1 hour. At the WKFL Wisdom, Knowledge, and Faith and Love Park on Pioneer Avenue in Homer, Alaska. Phoenix, Arizona, at the Arizona State Capitol. No joke. Where Kathy Hochul is the governor. We shouldn't be surprised about this. Kathy Hochul's the governor, and she wants Arizona to stay blue. She doesn't care. How about Little Rock, Arkansas, where the state is red? Little Rock, Arkansas is going to step off at the Broadway Bridge at 10 a.m. Down in my hometown of San Diego, California, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Civic Center Plaza on 1200 3rd Avenue in San Diego. Boulder, Colorado, where we had a protester, one of these Islamic protesters. He was not just Islamic, but he was also Democrat, wanting to make a statement, trying to light people on fire in Boulder, Colorado. The No Kings movement will step off at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the grassy area along canyon between the Boulder Library and the municipal building at a 1777 Broadway Avenue in Boulder, Colorado. New Haven, Connecticut, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Wilmington, Delaware, starting 9 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. Tallahassee, Florida, where they are said not to tolerate unlawful behavior. Atlanta, Georgia, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Honolulu, Hawaii, that's a blue state, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Hawaii State Capitol. Boise, Idaho, a red state, at the Idaho State Capitol building on Jefferson Street, 1 p.m. Chicago, Illinois, 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Washington Street in Chicago. Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Indiana State House. Davenport, Iowa, at the Martin Luther King Interpretive Center. Wichita, Kansas, 12 noon to 1:30. Douglas Avenue, North Broadway. Louisville, Kentucky, 12 noon to 4 p.m. at Metro City Hall. New Orleans, Louisiana, 2400 Decatur Street, 10 a.m. Portland, Maine, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. at Lincoln Park on Pearl Street. Annapolis, Maryland State House, go figure. Brookline, Massachusetts, Beacon Street and Harvard Street, 2 p.m. Detroit, Michigan, Clark Park on Clark Avenue. St. Cloud, Minnesota, another blue state, Courthouse Square. St. Louis, Missouri, at the Kiner Plaza Park. Helena, Montana State Capitol, another red state. Omaha, Nebraska, Tom Hannington Rivers Edge Park. Las Vegas, Nevada, who voted for President Trump in November, at the federal courthouse on Las Vegas Boulevard. I've been there. Concord, New Hampshire State House, another Democrat state. Albuquerque, New Mexico, another blue state. Mariposa Basin Park there, 11 a.m. New York, another blue state. Bryant Park, 5th Avenue and East 41st Street. Durham, North Carolina. Durham is also, not Durham, but Durham is a blue city. Not all cities in North Carolina are blue. Most of North Carolina is red. The only blue part of North Carolina is the northeastern part. Raleigh, Charlotte, Durham, North Carolina. All those areas have the most rich people. That's why it's a blue state. The rest of North Carolina is red. How about Bismarck, North Dakota, center of North Dakota? 12 noon at the Bismarck State Capitol building. Akron, Ohio. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Portland, Oregon. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Providence, Rhode Island. Charleston, South Carolina. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Go figure. Houston, Texas. Now I want to talk to you about Salt Lake City. I want to talk to you about Salt Lake City. Tomorrow, Salt Lake City will step off at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Pioneer Park. Pioneer Park is one of the most historic parks in Salt Lake City. But last night, guess what happened in Salt Lake City last night? Can anybody guess what happened in Salt Lake City last night? You want to know what happened in Salt Lake City last night? Guess what? Salt Lake City went to heck. Salt Lake City went to heck. Right now, I'm trying to bring up the protest here.
It's a protest against President Trump's immigration raids, and several hundred people gathered at Washington Square. A few made some speeches at the beginning, and then they walked in a loop around downtown Salt Lake City.
I want to show you what happened in Salt Lake last night. KSL, which is the primary news station for Salt Lake City, which is a CBS affiliate, showed this happening. They said there was only 500 protesters. Guess what? It was more like several thousand.
This is a view from Chopper 5 from the Ice Out protest that took place tonight in downtown Salt Lake City. It's a protest against President Trump's immigration raids, and several hundred people gathered at Washington Square. A few made some speeches at the beginning, and then they walked in a loop around downtown Salt Lake City. For the most part, this was a peaceful protest. There was a fist fight that broke out early in the protest, and then police tell us that later on a Tesla was vandalized. But for the most part, people were law-abiding. They made their voices heard. They got out their message and finished up. We're keeping an eye on things, and we will let you know how this protest goes tonight and what's ahead for the weekend on KSL 5 News at 10.
Okay, KSL News wanted to seem like nothing was going on. They said there was only 500 protesters in downtown Salt Lake last night. There were several thousand. The news media is downplaying this everything. News media doesn't want it to seem like anything's going on. Guess what? It is. It is. I'm going to tell you why I'm showing you this in just a few minutes. But Houston, Texas, Salt Lake City, Montpelier, Vermont, another blue state, Charlottesville, Virginia. Virginia is a red state. Seattle, Washington, Huntington, West Virginia, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. Every state in this country is going to be represented by that No Kings movement. No Kings movement. Now, what they want to say, what they want us to believe is they want us to believe they're a Christian movement. No Kings only Jesus Christ. But they are protesting against Donald Trump. They have no respect for our president. None at all. Organizers are saying that this major march and rally will take place in Philadelphia as well, to draw a clear contrast between our people-powered movement and the costly, wasteful, and un-American birthday parade in Washington, D.C. Organizers of the protest say on the No Kings website, yes, there is a No Kings website. June 14th, Flag Day. Donald Trump wants tanks in the street and made-for-TV display of dominance for his birthday, a spectacle meant to look like strength. But real power isn't staged in Washington, D.C. It rises up everywhere else. Instead of allowing his birthday parade to be the center of gravity, we will make action everywhere else a story of America that day. People coming together in communities across this country to reject strongman politics and corruption. President Trump said, quote, I view it for Flag Day, not necessarily my birthday. Somebody put it together. But no, we're going to do something on June 14th, something special. But I think June 14th is a very important day. No Kings Rally organizers are calling for people to attend demonstrations being held across this country and to organize their own events. The protest, which coincides with Flag Day, is said that crucial protesters do not see the narrative of patriotism or the ownership of the flag to the right wing. Instead, they looked for protesters waving the flag and marching with veterans at the June 14th demonstrations. They're wanting to march with veterans, but veterans want nothing of it. The Veterans Administration and the veterans across this country and the veterans of foreign wars want nothing to do with this movement. This movement that they are trying to attract, even in downtown Salt Lake City, basically a conservative city, even though the people from California have moved into Salt Lake City to make it a Democrat-run city. Never before, up until 8 years ago, Salt Lake City was a conservative city. Then all of a sudden, these LGBTQ Democrats started moving into Salt Lake just as they'd done before over in Denver. They've taken over the city. Never before has a Salt Lake City had a LGBTQ mayor. Now they have an LGBTQ mayor and also city council. They've also done something else. For the first time in history, a city flag is an LGBTQ flag. An LGBTQ flag for the city. What a joke. What a joke. I swear, guys, this is a joke. They want to say President Trump was elected president, not king. He never said he was a king. He's never said that ever. He's never projected that. But he's projected a movement where if you get out of hand like you've done in Los Angeles or Austin or Dallas or anywhere else, you get out of hand and you're going to jail. You will be going to jail. Over in Los Angeles, they've made hundreds of arrests, and they will continue to make hundreds more. Not just illegals, but the people that thrown rocks at police. If that protest in Los Angeles was anti-ICE, you would have thought that these protesters would be centered around the Immigration Customs Enforcement building in Los Angeles. It was not. Those protesters in Los Angeles started protesting against the police. They started throwing rocks at the police, started pelting their cars with rocks, cinder blocks, and other devices, including Molotov cocktails to kill people and burn people, just like the protesters did in Boulder, Colorado the week before. This is what they do. They want to create mayhem in our country. That's what these protesters do. Trying to create mayhem and chaos. That's not what we want. President Trump put the military in Los Angeles and other cities to bring back the peace. And once peace is restored, he has promised that the military will be pulled out. Now, why am I talking about here? Folks, this is an emergency situation. We've been talking about emergencies and disasters throughout our history of this channel. I do not want anybody to get hurt. If you stick around these protests, the chances are that you will get hurt or wrapped up in the protests, something bad could happen. Please, if you go to any of these parades that are scheduled around the country in observance of Flag Day, ladies and gentlemen, Flag Day. If you go to those locations to celebrate Flag Day, don't wear your MAGA gear. Do not wear your MAGA gear. Go as a regular patriot. Go as a regular patriot and celebrate Flag Day. This is 1 year before our nation's birthday. That's what we want to celebrate. We're a nation under God. We are a nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. We want to remember that. We are to remember that. Yes, we have authority. Yes, we have civility, and we have human rights. These are just not concepts, they are laws. Laws enacted by the founders of this country. And the laws are still being founded and also followed by the leadership of our country today. Except for the Democrats. The Democrats are deeply pissed on, or shall I say pissed off. The Democrat communist leadership in this country wants us to believe that nobody likes them. Nobody does. They want us to believe that we shouldn't worship God. They want us to believe that we should not follow our President of the United States. They want us to believe we have no leadership at all. That's what they want us to believe. There's something else that we need to show you. I'm sorry, that wasn't it. These three people right here. Over on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side. Guess who that is? Governor Walz from Minnesota. In the middle, Governor Pritzker from Chicago. And on the right, Kathy Hochul of New York. They were brought before the Congress yesterday morning to explain themselves. To articulate why they were advising violence in those cities, violence against this country. It's incredible what is being said. Totally incredible what is being said. Guys, we don't want it. We don't need it. Anna Paulina Luna, Senator Anna Paulina Luna is the one that organized this congressional briefing. She wanted these mayors to explain themselves. Now, if you go to her website, you can go to Anna Paulina's website, you're going to find out a lot of information. Information that the Democrats don't want to see. They don't want us to see it. There's a reason. There's a reason. They want us to believe that we are a nation that's being taken advantage of. They want us to believe that we are no longer in control of ourselves. Unreal. It's sick. These are sick people. Again, I want to advise you. Please follow the leaders of your cities, your counties, your states, and the federal government. Follow them as they are righteous. Follow them in righteousness and only righteousness. If they step out of line, advise them that they're out of line. If they continue on that path, get rid of them. Take them out of office. Remove them from office legally. Remove them from office legally. Remove them from office legally. In this coming election, we have an opportunity to do that. We have an opportunity to do that. I don't ask you to do that exact same thing. Remove them from office. We want people to do one thing. That is get in line with Jesus Christ. Get in line with God. Get in line with our government, as long as they're behaving righteously. Okay? We don't need communism in this country. As one protester in Los Angeles the other day said, he wants communism in there. The demonstrators in Los Angeles want communism. That is exactly what this No Kings movement is about, is communism. They want to take over our country. We cannot let that happen. We cannot let them happen. Ashley Laurel says she lives in rural Missouri farm country. Most people around here are conservatives. Most people where I live are conservatives as well. They don't want anything to go on. Now, if you do go out tomorrow, I'm not going to tell you what to do. However, I'm going to say, protect yourselves. Protect yourselves. I don't want anybody necessarily carrying nugs. I don't want anybody carrying broomsticks or baseball bats, but I want you to be peaceful. Be peaceful. If things start getting out of hand, leave. Don't be seen with these bullies. Please don't do that. Stay away from the crap. Stay away from the crap. Have I made myself clear here? I'm trying to protect you all. I'm trying to protect your families. I'm trying to get us all on the same page, a peaceful protest. Not what's been seen in these major cities throughout the past 2 weeks. It should not happen. Missy's saying no one should be involved in these riots at all. I totally agree. No one should be involved in these riots at all. Linda Covington says in the chat, FDR said, walk tall and carry a big stick. I agree. Walk tall and carry a big stick. In his case, it was a cane. President Trump is walking tall and he's carrying a big stick as well. I advise us all to do that, no matter whether we live in this country or some other country. We need to stand up for our rights. In London, in Britain, any kind of place in Britain, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Romania, the Czech Republic, Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Chile, Australia, New Zealand, wherever you're at, walk tall and carry a big stick. Do what you have to do. Do what you have to do. Ashley Laurel says, I condemn Walmart for allowing this to go on their property. I agree. My wife and I will not be shopping at Walmart for very much of anything. We won't be doing it. The only way we will return to Walmart is if that heiress is brought to repent of what she said. And she won't do it again. That is the only way we will return to Walmart or Sam's Club. Period. We don't side with them. We don't want anything to do with them. Period. At all. That's where we stand. Missy says her family are a family of immigrants, as mine is as well. I told you that my grandfather came from Wales, my grandmother came from Sweden. They went through Ellis Island, immigrated to Idaho, where I was born. They immigrated all over the country. But I will not be a part of this crap. I love our country. George R. says, Ron, do you know if it's true that the Capitol must be protected before martial law can be initiated? Yes. Maybe the military parade is going to protect the Capitol. That's partially true. However, did you know that our United States Capitol is now surrounded by a huge fence again? Huge fence. Before the election last year, they had a big fence around the Capitol building for one reason: to protect the Capitol from infiltration by the mob from Hamas, Palestinian protesters, and Antifa. Now the fence is back up. Missy says Walmart is the only store here in my small country town. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe you'll have to shop there. It's the largest store here in Morganton, North Carolina, where I live. Largest store. But there's another grocery store we can go to unless we need something else. That's where we're going. We're not going to be brought down by these Democrat communists. We don't want to be a communist government. Britain's been taken over by Islamists and communists. I believe Britain has fallen, unfortunately. You can't even pray in Britain without being arrested. Sad. Sad. Guys, you got to be safe. Canadian Patriot One from Eastern Canada says, for your own safety, keep your heads on a swivel and report suspicious activity immediately. That's exactly what I say. If you see something suspicious and know it's suspicious, call your local police. Report it, let them know where it is, and let them handle it. Stay away from it. Don't get involved anywhere near it. Renee Steffi's here in the chat. She's putting up flash flood warnings and tornado warnings as well. Another flash flood warning's been issued for Tucker, West Virginia. A lot of wind and rain. Be aware of that. Be aware of that. Beth, it's good to see you here. It's good to see you here. Guys, I've always been talking about safety. I've been talking about emergency preparedness for years. Today is Preparedness Friday. I would be negligent if I didn't mention emergency preparedness now. If you have the ability and have the money, go to your stores today. Purchase the necessities you're going to have for the weekend. And then stay away from Walmart, stay away from the other stores, and definitely stay away from these protests. I think these protests are going to get out of hand. That's my personal belief. I think these protests are going to get out of hand. Ashley says she orders a lot of things online. Be safe with that. Charlene's also saying keep your dogs in at night with you. I highly advise that as well. Keep all of your animals indoors as long as possible. And if you go outside, keep them in a fenced-in area where you can get to them and bring them back inside before you go to bed. Don't leave them outside. Canadian Patriot One is saying Canada has the same problems, unfortunately. Yes, Canada's had the same problems for a while now. Renee Steffi says there's street preaching going on in Shelby, North Carolina ahead of the protests. That figures. That figures. I'm sure there's some street protesters here. But I want everybody to be safe. I want you to have the things you need. Again, food and water. Make sure you have on the right kind of clothing as well. It's going to be hot. In some places, it's going to be humid, while in other places, it's going to be very hot and dry all weekend long. There's a huge heat shield building over the center part of the United States. Please be safe out there. Please drink lots of water. Please use sunscreen if you have to be outside. And also, I will come back on, and I urge you also to come to watch this channel and Wages World. Wages World here on YouTube. If he puts out a warning tonight that there's a geomagnetic storm, be prepared. Yes, there has been a planetary alignment. There was a planetary alignment started last night. 3 planets aligned, 2 others with Earth. That means there's electromagnetic radiation going on. Every time we have an electromagnetic radiation going on with a planetary alignment, there are earthquakes. There are earthquakes. Let me bring up the USGS map, and I'm going to show you a very strong earthquake. Actually, not very strong, but a strong earthquake over in the Kuril Islands on the northeast side of the Pacific. Take down our webcam, take down our banner. Let me enlarge this map so you can see what I'm talking about. This map is centered down in the southern part of the United States around Southern California. I'm going to take this out over to the Kuril Islands here. The Kuril Islands span the stretch of the Pacific Ocean from Kamchatka Peninsula to the north to Hokkaido, Japan on the south here. This earthquake here is a 6.1 earthquake. I actually believe it's 6.5, but this is still a strong earthquake. A 6.1 earthquake here in the Kuril Islands. The Kuril Islands here belong to Russia. Okay? The Kuril Islands belong to Russia. This is a strong 6.0 earthquake, and there may be other strong earthquakes that are going to happen. Over in Kamchatka Peninsula, right here, this is near a volcano here. This is a moderate 4.1 earthquake just south of this volcano here. 4.1 earthquake, 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles deep. This 6.1 earthquake here was also 10 kilometers deep. Go figure. Down here near Tokyo, this is a 4.5 earthquake here. On land in a town. A very populated place. Okay, a 4.5 earthquake here. Now 4.5 earthquakes are moderate earthquakes. They don't usually cause a lot of damage. Japan is very used to earthquakes. As a result, their buildings withstand earthquakes quite well. A 4.0, 4.9 can do some damage. They can make paintings and other wall hangings fall to the ground. 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes also cause books and knickknacks to fall off shelves. They can cause your plates and your glasses in your cupboards to rattle around and possibly fall out. Okay? 4.5 earthquake over here, just east of Tokyo here. Okay? Further south here, these are the Bonin Islands of Japan. Another 4.5 earthquake here. However, this is moderately deep. This is a 456 kilometer deep earthquake. Moderately deep earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake. Notice where it's at. It's along the Mariana Trench here. It's along the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest ocean trenches in the world. They're not talking about any earthquakes over in Taiwan. They should be. There are some small and moderate earthquakes in Taiwan. They're talking about an earthquake here, south of Mindanao, Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines is the largest island of the Philippines. This is south of Mindanao, Philippines. This is another large 5.0 earthquake here. This is 46 kilometers east-southeast of Sarangani, Philippines. East-southeast of Sarangani, Philippines. Okay? Notice they're not showing hardly anything over here in Indonesia, but one earthquake. This happens to be a large 5.2 earthquake over here near Tambaloloka, Indonesia. Tambaloloka, Indonesia. A large 5.2 earthquake, 10 kilometers deep. There are 26 earthquakes here in Indonesia. They're showing one. What a freaking joke. What a freaking joke they're not showing more earthquakes. Over here in Papua New Guinea, we have a 4.8 earthquake here. This is near Kanatu, Papua New Guinea. 4.8 earthquake, 10 kilometers deep. Right next to it. This is also 4.2 earthquake near Lae, Lae, Papua New Guinea. 4.2. This happens to be 110 kilometers deep. Interesting how this is 110 and this other one is only 107. Fascinating. Let's move over here. This is a little bit different. This is a large earthquake along the spine of this island. Why do I say the spine of this island? All of these islands here are made by volcanoes. This is along the spine of the island. Now I'm going to enlarge this so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay? I want to enlarge this even more. I want you to see small communities here. I want you to be able to see small communities here. This is the large 5.0 earthquake. You can see communities here. These people in these communities felt this earthquake, a large earthquake. These people in Papua New Guinea don't have much money. They don't have much of a house either. This area is a rainforest. There are cardboard and wooden shacks here protected by tarpaulins. That's what they have to live here with. When they have a 5.0 earthquake like this, or even a moderate 4.0 to 4.9, earthquakes cause damage. And I'm sure that's what happened today here in Papua New Guinea. A large 5.0 earthquake hit here. This is also 62 kilometers deep, still a fairly shallow earthquake. Okay? Sad day here in Papua New Guinea. Let's go further east here. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Vanuatu, but there are earthquakes here. Earthquakes all the way over here. Folks, this is over in Wallis Fortuna. Solomon Islands here. A 4.7 moderate earthquake here. 114 kilometers deep. Offshore from this island here. Because it was offshore and only a 4.7, I don't even believe anybody on this island felt this earthquake. Let's go further east out here. They're not showing any earthquakes out here in Tonga at all. What a joke. What a joke. There are moderate earthquakes here in Tonga. Moderate earthquakes here in Tonga. Further south here, Vanuatu, there are earthquakes here as well. But what a joke. Okay, I misrepresented Tonga. That was over in Solomon Islands. This is Tonga here. This is a 5.1 here. Matautu, Wallis Fortuna. A large 5.1 earthquake. This is a deep quake. This is a large, deep quake. I'm sorry, this is not a large, deep quake. This is a moderately deep quake. This is 367 kilometers deep. Moderately deep quake here. This is out in the ocean. Nobody on land even felt this earthquake. The ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Further out here to the southeast, Hihifo, Tonga. This is a moderate 4.5 earthquake, 112 kilometers south-southwest of Hihifo, Tonga. Nobody felt this earthquake either. The Pacific Ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Now, one more earthquake out here to the south. This is a 4.7 earthquake, also in the Tonga region, 177 kilometers deep. 96 kilometers southwest of Hohuma, Tonga. Southwest of Hohuma, Tonga. Again, the Pacific Ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake here. They got lucky. Further down here in the Kermadec Islands here, there have been 2 earthquakes here, both of these moderate earthquakes. And again, nobody lives on these islands except birds. The Kermadec Islands here are bird sanctuary. Okay? Further south here, there are small and minor earthquakes over here, on the big North Island and the South Island here in New Zealand. They're small and minor earthquakes here. Not a big deal. However, there are 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand. 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand. Why are they not showing them? Inquiring minds want to know. Why are they not showing them? Linda Covington is talking about ice melt in Switzerland. Figures? Not too surprising to me. The upper mountains of Switzerland this time of year have snow melt. It gets a little bit warmer there. I think in Switzerland it gets to be about 60 degrees in the summertime. Not a big deal. Not too much of a big deal. But I want to show you something here. Hold on a second, I want to show you this. I'm going to bring up our webcam. I want to show you what I'm seeing. I want to show you why I'm showing this to you as well. Folks, I have real issues with the government. I have real issues with our agency. Look what they're not showing us here in New Zealand. "26 earthquakes here in New Zealand." They're not showing us. They hardly show us anything here in Tonga, Vanuatu, or the Solomon Islands. They showed one earthquake in the Solomon Islands. That's insane. They're showing one earthquake right here. Let me show you exactly what happened here. New Caledonia. This is a 3.8 earthquake right here. Northeast of there, two more earthquakes in Vanuatu. One is a 4.2 and one is a 4.9, 5.0. They're not showing that, are they? Not at all. Another one here in Vanuatu. This is a 3.3. This is why I'm showing you that. Also here, two more here in Vanuatu Islands, a 3.6 and another 3.8. Why are they not showing them? Small earthquakes beget large earthquakes. Large earthquakes have hit here in the past, they're going to hit here again. There's 2, 4, 5, 6 earthquakes here in Vanuatu. Another one down here southwest of there in New Caledonia. They're not showing them. They're not showing them at all. Why not? I showed you this earthquake in Papua New Guinea. But let's go west and show you the rest of them. Look at that. 4.0 earthquakes. 4.0 earthquakes. Here's a 4.1. Why are they not showing that? Why are they not showing that? 4.1, 2.6, 2.6, and 2.5. Central Papua, Indonesia. 4.0 earthquake there. Let's go over here. West Papua, Indonesia. 3.6. There are 5 earthquakes in this area. That 4.6, the 3.6, a 3.6, another 3.0. Right all the way there. Maluku, Indonesia. Another 3.7. Northern Indonesia. Like I said, there's a total of 46 or 26 earthquakes here in Indonesia. Halmahera, Indonesia, where a volcano is, a 4.3, right there. I'm just going to tell you about the other earthquakes here. 3.9, 4.2 Sulawesi, Indonesia, where another volcano is. Southwest of there, 2.7, also near Sulawesi, Indonesia. Molucca Sea, another 4.0 earthquake there. West of there, again, this is just northern Indonesia, a 2.5. Then over here on the biggest island of Indonesia, right there. See 4 earthquakes right there? Northwest of there, a 3.2, 2.8, 3.2, and a 2.6. 3 minor earthquakes and 1 3.6 earthquake there. Interesting, huh? Let's go over to Java, Indonesia. Java, Indonesia. Now remember what I said, that they showed us 1 earthquake right here. South of Java, a 5.2 earthquake. Interesting enough, huh? Guess what? 4 more earthquakes north of there. Right there. 4 more earthquakes. 3.2 small, 2.7 minor, 2.6 minor, and another 2.5 minor, all in the Molucca Sea. Eastern Java, Indonesia, another 3.4, small earthquake. I want to go over to northern Sumatra now. Northern Sumatra, Indonesia, right up here. Right up here. Gunung Leuser National Park area. Guess what? A 3.2 earthquake there. This is what I'm talking about. Then I want to show you something else. We just got through having a very major earthquake up here in Myanmar. Right up here in Myanmar. Well, guess what? Guess what, guys? 5 more earthquakes there. 2.4, 2.4, 2.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 3.4. So we had 2 3s and 2 2s here. 3s are small, 2s are minor earthquakes. That area is still rocky. Months after the major earthquake happened, that area is still having earthquakes. Months after the earthquake hit. Now let's go over to northern India, northeastern India, Bhutan, India. Bhutan, India. Let's bring up this map here. I want to go right up here to Bhutan, India. You can see it right there. Bhutan, India. We have a 3.5 earthquake there. Why are they not showing it here on the map? Small 3.5. Why are we having that? This 3.5 earthquake in Bhutan, India is also a direct result of that major earthquake over in Myanmar. What used to be called Burma. That's now Myanmar. The seismic energy left Myanmar, went over here into the Himalaya Mountains. Went over here into the Himalaya Mountains here. The seismic energy is still moving. The seismic energy is still moving through the Himalaya Mountains. It's unreal what they're not showing. They're also not showing any earthquakes whatsoever over here. Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan. Guess what? Let's look. a 4.3, a 4.3, another 3.4, a 3.8, a 4.4, and a 3.7. Right there. 2 moderate earthquakes and 2 small earthquakes. USGS shows us nothing. Not a thing. Now I want to show you something else. In an area we have not seen earthquakes here a lot. Now guys, this pains me. This pains me. And you might ask, why are you having any pain about this? I have pain about this because they continually don't want to tell us the truth. They don't want to tell us what's really going on. That's why I have pain about it. See where it says Oman here? The Gulf of Oman's here. On the other side of the Gulf right here. Guess what? A 3.4 earthquake. Now, well, it's small. It's small. We've had moderate and large earthquakes there before. Why are they not showing them? They should. They definitely should. I want to take you up here to the Syrian-Turkey border here. USGS is continually not showing us earthquakes here. They occasionally will talk about a moderate earthquake here. Guess what? 34 earthquakes here. 34 earthquakes here. I dare say it's probably close to 40. Why? Why are we seeing this many earthquakes here? The simple reason is this. The Turkey-Syria border region had a large, very strong, major earthquake here almost 2.5 years ago. February 3rd, 2023. February 3rd, 2023, we had a 8.0, 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. Yes, all of those three. All those three. It came out as a 7.4, and they since, after that, had an 8.4, a 9.0, and they had the seismographs going off scale. 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. It killed over 5,000 people. It injured over 5,000 others. This is in one of the poorest areas of the world. Churches from all over the world and relief organizations from all over the world poured into this area, and yet a lot of the supplies did not get to the poorest people. That's why there were so many deaths. A lot of the supplies were taken up by the military with promises of taking these to the people. Didn't make it. Didn't make it. That 9.0, 10.0 earthquake also created a huge hole in the ground. Huge hole ground in this area. Why? That large earthquake created a huge fissure in the ground. 14 miles long, and an 8-story building could fit in it. 14 miles long and deep as an 8-story building. That's what these size earthquakes do. That is why they continue having earthquakes here today. They're going to have earthquakes here for a very long time going into the future. Promise you. Promise you. Now look, USGS is still not showing any earthquakes hardly at all. None. None. Why not? Why not? Look at these earthquakes in Eastern Iraq, not Eastern Iraq, Eastern Turkey, Western Turkey, and over here in the Dokkanese Islands of the Aegean Sea here. What's going on? Why are we having earthquakes here in the sea? What's going on, guys? Can anybody remember why we're having earthquakes here? Why? There's magma down there. There's magma down there, guys. That's why we're having earthquakes here. Right here. We have islands here all created through volcanoes. All created through volcanoes. This island right here has the summit of the volcano over here in the water. Incredible, huh? We're still having earthquakes here. Okay? These are minor tremors here. Minor tremors. However, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 tremors here. 12 tremors. 1.4, 2.2 minor earthquake, 2.1 minor earthquake, 2.6 minor earthquake, 2.7 minor earthquake, 2.1 minor earthquake, 1.5 tremor here, minor earthquakes and a tremor right here. And over to the west, out here in the Aegean Sea, a 2.3 earthquake right there. We have magma on the move here. Magma down deep into the crust below this ocean here. Magma trying to find a way to erupt here. That's why we have these earthquakes here. Magma trying to find a way to erupt here. Then we come down here. A 1.2 tremor here. Right near that volcano. As I said before, all the volcanoes around the world are active. All the volcanoes around the world are recharging. They're recharging. They're still not showing any earthquakes here around Crete, Greece. There are. Just briefly. A 2.6 on Crete. 2.6 at Crete. Just southwest of Crete is a 2.4, a 2.5, and a 2.8. All minor earthquakes right there. Going up into the mainland of Greece, south of Athens, 1.4 and a 1.5 south of Athens right there. Over in the central Greece, Kalamata, Greece, a 1.6. Now, let's take that down. We have 20 earthquakes right there. Why is the USGS not showing us anything? Why is the USGS not showing us? So far, just the earthquakes I've shown you. Only the earthquakes that I've shown you. They're not showing on the USGS map. That means the USGS is lying to us. Absolutely out and out lying to us. Not showing us anything. Let's go over to Larissa in northern Greece. 2.0 earthquake. North there, another 1.6. Tremors. Tremors. Western Greece, in the islands here. In the islands here, on the north side. 0.1 microquake, 1.9, 2.0, 0.9, 1.6. Further to the southeast here, Still on the west side of Greece, a 1.7 and a 3.5 there. 3.5 there. Look at that earthquake fault. That earthquake fault, guess where that comes from? It comes from that same place over in the Turkey-Syria border region, the Anatolian Fault. The Anatolian Fault leaves the Turkey-Syria border region, goes out into the Mediterranean there, south of Cyprus. South of Cyprus. Then it works its way south of Crete, Greece. Then it works its way over to Greece, over to the west side. Over the west side where these earthquakes are right now. Then we go to Italy. Go to Italy, right here. Sicily and Italy are getting hit, right? Let's take a brief look at this. Northern Sicily, 1.2 tremor. 2.7. 2.2 out here near Mount Etna. 2.2 minor earthquake near Mount Etna. Mount Etna is still moving. Mount Etna is still erupting. South of there, out also in the water here. This is another 1.8 tremor here. Let's go north here into the foot of the boot of Italy here. 1.8 and a 0.4. Microquake here, and just south of there, a 1.8 tremor. Now, I want to go over here. I want to show you what's actually going on in Italy. Okay? Why am I going to show this? Guess what? Guess where I'm going? Can anybody guess where I'm going? Over here in Italy? Right here. Over here by Naples. Guess what? Mount Vesuvius is steaming. Mount Vesuvius is steaming. But the European agency is not showing us any earthquakes here, and USGS isn't either. They're not showing us any earthquakes at all. We know there are. We know there are. When we have a volcano steaming, it has magma underneath that volcano pushing up on it, fraction rock inside the volcano. Naturally, it's moving. We have earthquakes. We have earthquakes. They're not showing them there. Let's go north of Italy here. Southern Italy here. Southern Italy right here. USGS is not showing us any earthquakes, right? Not at all. Here's a 1.8. 1.8 tremor. Off in the ocean here. Another 1.8 tremor there. Now, let me pull back here just a little bit. Right here. Right here. Out here to the northwest. This is the Adriatic Sea. This is a 2.4 earthquake here. 2.4 earthquake here. But up north, north central Italy, we have another swarm of earthquakes right here. Right here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 earthquakes here. 13 earthquakes here. They're not showing any here. These are all tremors for the most part. 1.5, 1.0, 1.2, 1.0, 1.2, 1.3. And this is a 1.0 over here in Marcia. M-A-R-C-H-A. CHE, Marsh, Italy. Swarms of earthquakes still. Every time we have swarms of earthquakes here, sooner or later we'll have another large earthquake. Sooner or later, we're going to have another large 5.0, 5.2 earthquake here. It happened here about a year ago. It happened right after the swarms of earthquakes started. They're still moving. They're still moving. Over here to the northwest. This is 1.0 here in Tuscany. Tuscany, guys. Let's go over to the island of Greece. Or I mean Italy. Island of Italy here. Right here. Sardinia, Italy. Sardinia, Italy, right here. This is a 1.3 tremor there. We haven't seen too many tremors or earthquakes here. I want to show you this one here. 1.3 tremor there. We showed you Tuscany. How about over in the resort area of northern Italy? Albanga, Liguria, Italy. 0.9 microquake here. Then we get into the Alps of Italy and Switzerland. In the Alps, 0.7, 1.4 in Veneto, Italy. Veneto, Italy here. And one more here as well. This is Friuli, Venetia, Giulia, Italy, a 1.0 tremor. In the Alps, let's go over to the Swiss Alps. I believe it was Linda Covington earlier that said that there was some ice melt in the Switzerland mountains. Guess what? Double Switzerland at 0.6 microquake. Double Switzerland is 0.6 microquake there. Let's go further to the north and west. Also in Switzerland, a 2.6 and a 1.6 tremor. 2.6 minor earthquake and a 1.6 tremor here. Switzerland. Grenchen, Switzerland. Let's go north. This time in Germany at 0.8. 0.8 microquake. Let me move this map a bit. We're up here. I showed you the Alps here. USGS still not showing us any earthquakes. Waldorf, Germany, 0.8. 0.8 here in Waldorf, Germany. Right up here. Incredible. Then we go further north. This time to the Netherlands. Good old Netherlands. Right up here. A 1.41 tremor here. We've been getting a lot of tremors in the Netherlands lately. Well, let's don't stop. Let's don't stop. How about England? How about England? Jolly old England. Demon Catman lives in the east of England. Let's go over to northern England here. This is a 1.3 tremor here. We don't usually have earthquakes here, but here we have a 1.3 tremor here in England. East of England here. What a wonderful place. Okay. Northeast England, a 1.3 tremor. Doesn't stop there. Scotland. Jolly old Scotland. Here's a 1.0 tremor here in Scotland. Yeah, I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to bring out the Scottish language. I don't speak Scottish. I don't speak Scottish. How about Sweden? Sweden, Norway area. The next three earthquakes are here in Norway. Good old Norway. Right here. When I used to live in Sweden, we didn't have any earthquakes. We never got told about any earthquakes, but that's changed. Over here in southeastern Norway, here is a 1.0 tremor, and also here a 1.7 and a 1.1 tremor here in southeastern Norway. Southeastern Norway. Great place, huh? Great place. Now let's go over to another place. Another place where we've had a lot of earthquakes and we've had some volcanoes erupt here. Iceland. Let's go over to this volcano which has the largest ice sheet here. There's a volcano down under that ice. Guess what? Here we have a 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 earthquake at the volcano. Interesting, huh? How about good old New England? No, let's talk about not just England or New England. Let's talk about Northern Canada. Good old Northern Canada. How about let's take us all the way down here. Right here. Okay? By St. Paul, Quebec, Canada. 1.55 tremor. 1.55 tremor here. Fascinating, huh? USGS not showing it, huh? Not at all. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid they be honest with us. But that's not all, folks. There's more. A lot more. I want to go over to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. What do we have here in Puerto Rico? Let's go over here. Why are we having earthquakes here in southwestern Puerto Rico, guys? Can anybody tell me why we are having earthquakes here? Mary Undoer nods, says Englandistan. Yeah. Kind of funny, huh? Hector Proctor says have never been there. We have never been there. No, I haven't either. Why are we having earthquakes here in southwestern Puerto Rico, guys? December 26th and December 28th. Can anybody tell me what happened on December 26th and December 28th? Southwestern Puerto Rico had a number of earthquakes. Quite a number of earthquakes. Major earthquakes. Major earthquakes. On December 26th, 2019, there was an 8.0 earthquake. On December 29th, there was another 8.4. 8.4. Why? Please do not put this name on the chat. Please don't put this name on the chat. This organization lit up 3 facilities around the world. They lit up 3 facilities around the world, one in Norway, one in Russia, and one in northwestern Australia. They triangulated Puerto Rico. They triangulated southwestern Puerto Rico. If it wasn't for the 8.0, there still would have been major damage. But they had to go a step further 2 days later, on December 28th. Major damage. Knocked out the electricity all across the island. Let's go out here off the coast here. Right here. This is south of Guanica, Puerto Rico. This is a 2.5 earthquake. Just east of there, a 2.2. Right next to it, we have another 2.3. These are all minor earthquakes. These are all minor earthquakes. Just north of it, still out to sea here, is a 1.7 tremor. Guess what? It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at all. Let's go further to the northwest here, right up here. This is a 2.4 southwest of Guanica, Puerto Rico, 3 miles southwest of Guanica. This is a 2.1. This is a 2.0. This is a 2.1. This is a 2.3. North there here, inland, a 2.2. Over here near Guanilla, Puerto Rico. Indios, Puerto Rico, a 2.2 earthquake, minor earthquake. This is a 2.4 near Magas Arriba, Puerto Rico, 2.4 earthquake. And right here, a 2.4 earthquake here. Why is this important? These are aftershocks of the 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes here back in December 2019. Almost 6 years ago. 5.5 years ago, guys. 5.5 years ago. 2 8s hit here. And we're still getting earthquakes here today. These are aftershocks of that quake, of those quakes. Aftershocks of those quakes. Unreal. Those were man-made earthquakes. Man-made earthquakes. Over here in the Mona Passage. The Mona Passage is a body of water between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. This is a small 3.4 earthquake here. Let's go out here to the north off the northeast coast of Puerto Rico. This is a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake out here in the Pacific Ocean. I'm sorry, not the Pacific, the Atlantic Ocean, north of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now, this earthquake here has nothing to do with the other earthquakes over in southwest of Puerto Rico. This earthquake was dropped off by the Cayman Trench. That red earthquake fault to the north of Puerto Rico, the Cayman Trench. The Cayman Trench originates over here in Guatemala, between Guatemala and Belize. Then it goes out here in the Caribbean Sea. Then it turns north towards the Cayman Islands here. Goes south of Cayman Islands here, over north of Jamaica. Skirts Cuba here. Continues its way east, north of Jamaica, north of Haiti, north of the Dominican Republic, north of Puerto Rico, dropping off earthquakes. Dropping off earthquakes. Okay? This earthquake fault drops off seismic energy. Then it continues its way eastbound until it gets out here in the Atlantic Ocean, just east of the outward islands here. Then it continues southbound here until it gets to almost Venezuela. Then it makes a sharp westerly turn out here and goes over here into Venezuela. This earthquake fault has carried thousands and thousands of earthquakes here, all the way over here. It happens every day. It happens every day. Most people don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about it. I just educated you on what's going on. Now, they are not also telling us about an earthquake over here in the Dominican Republic. Fascinating here. They didn't tell us anything about an earthquake here in the Dominican Republic, but there is. Right up here. This is along the coastline of Montellano, Puerto Plata province of the Dominican Republic. Right there. Folks, that is a 3.0 earthquake. That's a 3.0 earthquake right there. Okay? They don't tell us much of anything about earthquakes in South America. They don't tell us much of anything about earthquakes in South America. Look at this. Not one darn earthquake here in South America. Guess what, guys? USGS again lies through its teeth. There are 40 earthquakes here in South America. The majority of earthquakes here along the West Coast, either Chile or up here in Colombia today. Usually we also have earthquakes over here in Peru, going over here into Ecuador, and Colombia out here, and Venezuela over here. Most of these earthquakes are in Chile. This one in southern Chile here. Southern Chile at the Argentine border. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. Fact of the matter is, I've never seen an earthquake this far south before. That is a minor 2.2 earthquake. North of there, Villa O'Higgins, Chile. We've had earthquakes here before. This is a 3.1 small quake. 3.1 small quake there. Let's go north. Los Lagos, Chile. Central Chile. This is a 2.8. We have an earthquake over in Argentina. Dueguin, Argentina. This is a 3.1 earthquake here. Just on the east side of the Andes Mountains here. Let's go north. This time we are in northern Chile. We have a majority of earthquakes here in northern Chile. We have 2s, 3s, and even 4s here. 2s, 3s, and even 4s here. 2s being a minor, 3s being small, and one 4.2 earthquake here as well. Then we go north. Folks, here in northern Chile, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 earthquakes here. 15 earthquakes here. And south there we have another 4 earthquakes. That makes 19. That makes 19. Let's go north here into Colombia now. Colombia. 2.5 Huila, Colombia. 2.5 minor earthquake. Okay? To the west. Over by the coastline. 2.5. 2.9. So we have 2 2.5s and 1 2.9 right here. Let's go north. North and east. Cundinamarca, Colombia. Cundinamarca, Colombia, 2.7. North of there, Santander, Colombia. Santander, Colombia is where we have a lot of earthquakes here. Today, we have a 2.7 and a 3.4. 2.7 and 3.4. Guys, here in Colombia, 19 earthquakes in Argentina and Chile. Up here, we have another 6. That's 25 earthquakes in South America that they did not show us. They didn't show us. Then over here in Central America, we have 14 earthquakes here in Central America. We have a bunch of 3s here, quite a bit of 3s here, okay? We have 3.72, 2.12, 2.34, 2.56, and then look at all these 3s here. These are all 3s here in Costa Rica. All these earthquakes are 3s in Costa Rica. Amazing. Amazing. Now they've had another 4.0. They just had a 4.0 here. I didn't see this earlier. So we have a moderate earthquake there as well. We have a bunch of 3s and some 4s here, probably. Okay. Central America. Central America. They didn't show us here either, did they? Not at all. Not at all. Why not? Mexico. 4.2 in Chiapas. 4.2 in Chiapas. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 here. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, plus 10 more here, right here. These are 3s and 4s here as well. So we have 40 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 40 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 3s and 4s. All over the place. Incredible, guys. On the east coast of Mexico, we have a 4.0. 4.0 earthquake here on the east coast of Mexico. Doesn't stop. Doesn't stop. I want to show you this. Now, I've told you before. See this earthquake fault coming out of California, going into Mexico, going through the Gulf of California here, coming all the way down here along the coastline of southern Mexico? The San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault. Look what's going on here in the Gulf of California. I'm going to show you. Here's a 4.5 earthquake. A moderate 4.5 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault here. Right next to it, a 3.9. North of there, another 3.9. Then we go over here into the Gulf here, right before we get to northern Mexico here. That's a 3.5. Then we have another 3.6 right there. Still in the water. Baja California. Baja California. A 3.5 and a 3.2. 3.5 and a 3.2 right there. They're not showing those, are they? None of them. None of them. My question is, why not? Why not? Look at all these earthquakes in Southern California. San Diego County, except for this. This is Ocotillo Wells, Imperial Valley. That's a 0.7 microquake. This is 0.8 here. This is a 0.6. And this is 0.5. Pine Valley, San Diego County. 0.5 microquake here. We can go north. Julian, California, guys. We just got through having a 5.1 earthquake just over a month ago here in Julian, California. This is an aftershock, a 0.7 aftershock here. Fascinating, huh? Let's go over here to the top of the Chocolate Mountains. Borrego Springs, California. Again, North San Diego County. Northeast San Diego County here. The Anza Borrego Desert State Park. We have a lot of earthquakes here. Usually we have a ton of them. This is a 0.6 microquake. And this is a 0.8 also in Borrego Springs. And this red one just happened. This is a 0.8 here. Let's go west here. Fallbrook, California. Fallbrook, also North San Diego County. 0.1, 0.9, and here a 1.3 tremor. We have another flash flood warning issued in Maryland by the National Weather Service. Washington, D.C., Page, Virginia, Shenandoah, Virginia. Life-threatening flash flooding due to thunderstorms in the area. That's one reason why I wanted to come on the air when I did, because we're supposed to get flash flooding here. Southern California is getting hit with earthquakes. Why? Why? Right here, we have the San Andreas Fault again. Look at all the earthquakes here around the San Andreas Fault right here. 2.1 Cabazon, California. 1.0 here. Going north, Calamasa, California, 0.9 microquake. 0.8 Yucaipa. Go north here. Yucaipa here is 0.5 on the north side of the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded like we said. Locked and loaded. Down here on the San Jacinto, Loma Linda, California, 1.0 tremor. North of there, right here is Muscoy, California. This is a 1.1 tremor. Folks, this area is locked and loaded. We're going to pop. We're going to pop. Down here in Corona, 1.0 tremor. This area is locked and loaded. As I said before, earlier this week, the San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded. It's going to pop. I think it's going to pop before the summer's ending. If any of you live or have neighbors or friends that live here in Southern California, you need to ask them to get prepared. Tell them to come over and watch this channel. Ask them to come over and watch this channel. I'm telling you what I see. I'm telling you what I see. It's happening. It's happening. The more I show you, the more I'm convinced it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Up here along the San Andreas Fault here, San Lucas, California. 2.3 here. It's going to happen. East Monterey Bay, San Juan Bautista, California, 1.6 tremor. Then we come up here. This is the Hayward Fault here. 0.9 Alum Rock. 1.1 tremor, Alum Rock. This is a 1.4 tremor, Alum Rock. Hayward Fault. Milpitas, California, 0.1 microquake. Hayward, California. Hayward Fault. Look out, guys. Looks like the Hayward Fault is building up as well. It is. It's going to pop. One more earthquake up here. This earthquake is off the coast of Petrolia, California, and it's right next to the Triple Junction, where the San Andreas Fault, the Cascadia subduction zone, and this earthquake fault here come together. This here earthquake is a 4.1 moderate earthquake. A 4.1 moderate earthquake here. This is the headwaters of the San Andreas Fault. Incredible. Incredible. I've taken you across the world, around the world. I've shown you where the majority of the earthquakes are. Again, I'm going to ask you, please share this program worldwide. Share as far as you can. Because even in England, we have earthquakes. All over Europe, we have earthquakes. The USGS doesn't show them to us. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Linda Covington says the Salton Sea. They're not showing us any earthquakes around the Salton Sea, are they? Guess what? There are. There are earthquakes here. EMSC, the European agency, doesn't show us any. I guarantee you there are 500 earthquakes here in the Salton Sea area. 500 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley. 500 earthquakes every day here in the Imperial Valley. The Imperial Valley has the San Andreas Fault, folks. That is one of the reasons they have earthquakes here, is because of the San Andreas Fault here. Any questions? Any questions? Look out, guys, for flash flooding. We've got some big storms coming here along the East Coast. Beware of that. Watch out for what's going to happen tomorrow. Watch out for what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm telling you guys. I'm warning you. Things are going to pop. Things are going to pop. And I don't think it's going to be very pretty. Please don't go to near any protests. Stay away from protests, and I ask you also, share that information with your family and friends. Don't go near the protests. Stay completely away from it. Okay? Rumham Silva says tomorrow could be the day the earth stood still. The fact of the matter is this. Tomorrow could be a very interesting day. I'm just asking for everybody to stay active. Be aware of everything. Israel is also going to continue to get attacked, and Israel is going to continue to attack Iran tonight. And as Iran promised, Iran could attack U.S. strongholds and military outposts all over the Middle East. Be aware of it. War could erupt in the Middle East this weekend. Be very careful. Be very careful. Don't go near any protests here in the United States, and be wary of earthquakes. Be wary of everything around you. Be prepared. Make sure you have adequate food. Make sure you have adequate water. Make sure you're taking care of your body. Okay? Make sure you have sunscreen on. Make sure you're well hydrated. Take care of your animals and take care of your children. Okay? I want you to be safe. Wendy from England is also here. Thank you for being here, Wendy. God bless you for that. Appreciate you. Appreciate you a lot. Right before we leave, I want to share a scripture with you, as I do on most evenings. I'm going over to the 3rd chapter of Colossians here, verses 23 and 24. Whatsoever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto man, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of your inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Jesus Christ. We serve the Lord Jesus Christ. Sergeant Johnson said this: pray for your neighbors. Absolutely pray for your neighbors, brothers and sisters. We all need it. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? I don't think we'll see any homes tumbling into the sea anytime soon. However, the earthquakes are going to surprise a lot of people. When Christ died, the earth trembled. As Christ's second coming comes before us, we're going to see major land masses move. We're going to see a lot of destruction. We are warned in the scriptures what's going to happen. Be prepared, guys. Be prepared. As Renee Sebi says, Jesus Christ is the only King I will acknowledge. I agree. God bless you. God be with you, as we said, forevermore. God be with you. Guys, just before I end here, if anything else happens major, we will be coming back on the air tonight to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Tomorrow we take the day off unless anything major happens. Then we may come on the air still tomorrow. On Sundays, we will come on the air on Sundays about 12:30 for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, our weekly Sunday school class. Those of you that are interested, we would love to have you there. Thank you all for being here. God be with you until we meet again. Demon Catman says the membership link is not working. Dadgummit. Thank you, Demon Catman. I'll check into it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on the other side. Take care, everybody. Mods, you are awesome. God bless you all. See you soon.